President-elect Trump is just weeks away from taking office, but the Democrats are already promising to make things tough for the new administration. Take a look at the latest example from California Congresswoman Maxine Waters.
I have no intention of pretending everything's all right, that we're going to work together. For me, as the ranking member of the Financial Services Committee, where he said he's going to bring down Dodd-Frank and he's going to get rid of the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, I'm going to fight him every inch of the way.
Well, let me, Congresswoman, if I could just interrupt you for 1 second, excuse me, but I just want to get this straight. Are you saying then that you would not sit down with President-elect Trump if he invited you to the White House to meet on common ground?
Oh, no, I won't go. I'm not going to sit down with him. I'm not going to go. I'm not going to pretend.
Joining me now with reaction is pollster Frank Luntz and Fox News contributor Doug Schoen. All right, gentlemen, I got to tell you, that language, you know, I'm going to fight him every step of the way. I mean, okay, I get the politics of it. But to sit there and actually say, as an elected congresswoman whose job is to work for her constituents and the American people, is she not violating the spirit of her oath as an elected member of Congress? I'll start with you, Frank.
Well, I don't get the politics of it. The fact is that the Democrats are going to have 25 seats up in 2018, and 10 of those seats are going to be in states that Trump won by a big margin. That actually, if a Democratic senator is watching Maxine Waters right now, she or he ought to be furious, because that's going to make it impossible for them over the next 2 years. The American people want compromise. The American people want cooperation. They want to, and I quote, get things done. They want to repeal health care. They want to repeal the Obama executive orders. They want to make real change, and they expect the politicians to work together to get it done.
Doug, didn't the American people in this last election make it so clear that they want the sides to work together? And by her digging her heels in the sand so deeply and saying, I'm not even going to meet with him, I'm not going to talk to him, what is that about, Doug?
Well, it's about playing to a narrow sliver of her constituency.
And does it do her any good?
Which it does her no good, and it does the party worse, as Frank suggests. Look, Frank's right. The American people want compromise and conciliation. It's not to say the Democrats have to agree with everything Trump does or says, but to rule out legislating, compromising, and working with him is a profound mistake, Janine.
Well, I have to tell you, Frank, you know, you have looked at the numbers. You know what's going on. You've got Nancy Pelosi now, who's got no credibility, but, you know, got reelected to her position because she apparently has the money. Aren't the Democrats understanding they lost seats in the House, they lost seats in the Senate, they lost the White House, they lost the gubernatorial races, they lost something like 50% of, you know, the state houses, both houses in this legislators in the states. Are they tone deaf?
I think so, but this also puts pressure on the Republicans to actually make this happen. I can't imagine a viewer of this show right now who will accept Republican failure to repeal Obamacare. I can't imagine a viewer accepting the Republican inability to stop wasteful Washington spending and to reform our out-of-control tax code. Now, if the Democrats want to listen, if they want to be smart, they're going to participate in this effort and they're going to have their voices heard. But if not, then it is still paramount on the GOP to deliver exactly what they promised on Election Day.
But the GOP can do it, can't they, Doug? They've got the House, they've got the Senate, they've got the White House.
You know, they can do it, but as we saw with Obamacare, you do better for yourself with a broad bipartisan constituency rather than a narrow constituency. And the flip side of Frank's point is if Obamacare is repealed, as I expect it to be, the American people and the Democrats should fight to maintain the coverage that was extended in a more cost-effective way. There are ways to cut the budget that protects social programs. Democrats can and should cooperate with the new administration because it's good politics, it's good government, and it's just plain right. Common sense.
And Frank, given that the American people feel so strongly about obstructionists, I mean, don't the Democrats now become the obstructionists?
The smartest strategy for the GOP right now is to save each of these interviews. Every time a Democrat comes up and says, I'm not going to meet with the president, I'm not going to work with the Republicans, save that. And then beginning in the middle of next year, start to run those ads in places like Montana and Idaho, places that Donald Trump won big, and to ask the Democratic senator from that state, do you agree or disagree? You could see Republican gains in 2018, even though typically you'd have a bad election year for the incumbent party. It's the dumbest strategy I could ever imagine the Democrats doing, and I don't get it.
And Doug, you know, knowing Donald Trump as I do, he will work across the aisle. He will do everything he can to bring people to his side and to listen. And I think that the Democrats can only look bad. Agree?
You know, I couldn't agree more. I know Donald Trump. I've worked for him in a business capacity, and I know him to be a practical man. He met with Senator Schumer. They have the basis for cooperation, but the Democrats would make a mistake putting in Keith Ellison as head of the DNC and following the precepts of Maxine Waters.
All right,
bad politics,
gentlemen.
a big mistake.
Thank you, gentlemen. And coming up, a Drexel University